Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 4 recipes that I tend to make on more special occasions. These are more higher effort recipes, but they are 100% worth it. And I want to share with you a few wine pairings in case this is something that you like to do when you're making special meals too. Now when it comes to special occasions, I try to go the extra mile to make that meal as special, fun and delicious as possible. So I wanted to share with you a couple of meals today where I tried to make something delicious, and if you're thinking about Valentine's Day, there's one that I think is particularly good for sharing. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. It really helps to support my channel. Okay, thank you to Cellars for sponsoring a portion of today's video. Let's get into it. The first recipe I want to share is something that I have been making for quite a few years now and have adapted several times. I couldn't find jerk seasoning in any shop near me, so I ended up making some myself. Essentially what this recipe is coating and frying some mushrooms. You can use any mushrooms you want. In the original recipe, they just use mushrooms without any of the coating and frying, so it's completely flexible, up to you to decide what you would like to do and how much effort you'd like to put in, but also what your preferences are in terms of flavour and taste and texture. I like to use Enoki mushrooms just because they kind of give the feeling of chicken tearing apart when you eat them. But you can just use oyster mushrooms or any other mushrooms. And what I really like about this recipe though is that you can use these as a standalone sort of dish and just find a dipping sauce for a jerk seasoning if you want. For the main sauce, I'm making a jerk sauce. This is a Rachel Amma recipe, so I'll leave the original video down below. I couldn't find Scotch bonnets anywhere in the US, so I ended up using habaneros. They have a really nice similar heat level, but just a slightly different flavour. After I made the sauce, I left it to the side just to bubble away for a couple of minutes while I sliced up the plantain. And then I just fried these for a few minutes on each side. For the avocado sort of cream, I blended everything in the food processor. All of these components are very quick once you've done the mushrooms, but I made a mistake of making the mushrooms first. I would definitely recommend doing them last so that they are warm, ready to eat and still crunchy when you put them in your tacos. Now for this recipe, because the sauce is quite dark and red, I decided to pair it with a red wine. This was a really light and very drinkable red wine that just went perfectly with all the seasonings in the jerk sauce. So now all that's left is just to build your taco. You put the avocado, the mushrooms, the plantain, some sliced red onion and your jerk sauce. I made my mushrooms just a little bit too big for this taco, but I still ate it and really enjoyed it. This can be adapted in so many different ways. So if you want to make something a little bit smaller, you don't have to deep fry them, you can just make mushrooms. I would highly recommend this recipe because it is so delicious, and plantain is super fun and you can get them from an H Mart if you have one nearby. I just want to take this time to thank Cellars for sponsoring today's video. Cellars is a wine subscription service that helps you to discover new wines that are personalized to your tastes. They love to play matchmaker and have a specific wine quiz that will pair you with the wines you'll love the most, delivered right to your door. The subscription service helps to demystify some of the process of choosing wine, which can be quite intimidating if you don't really know anything about it. The wines they choose for you are all dependent on your specific tastes. If you like fruity wines, dry wines, sweet wines, hints of clove or lemon or grapefruit, all of these things are taken into consideration when selecting the perfect wines for your box. If you enjoy a little bit of the unknown, they also have a sip of the month, so you get to experience another bottle of wine that you may not have chosen yourself. If you are interested in Cellars, then check out the link in the description for a special offer for my viewers. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Okay, I've been wanting to try making a vegan cacio pepe for a while, and I thought that this would be a great opportunity to put it into a video like this, because for me, pasta always seems to be a really great vehicle for experimentation. I love pasta in general, I mean, who doesn't? I never thought that you'd be able to make something like cacio pepe vegan, because I think it's supposed to be very like dairy based, but I found a recipe that I thought that we could try for this special occasion, especially if you like the creamy spaghetti, just delicious bowls. You know. Anyway, this recipe should actually not take very long. Why is this so hard to get on? This recipe shouldn't take very long. I think it's about a 30-minute recipe, so that's quite good for if you are, you know, you want it to be like a bit of a special night, but you don't want to put in like maximal effort. Or you're just getting into trying to make a bit nicer meals, a bit fancier meals. This could be a good one. This is an experimentation, so we're experimenting together. Let me show you the ingredients and then we'll get started. The ingredients are really nice and simple. We have miso, lemon, cashew butter, nutritional yeast, olive oil, black pepper, salt, and spaghetti. Just in case this might be helpful, if you are experimenting with recipes or you find recipes that you really like, then I would highly recommend starting a document, whether it's on whatever you choose, Google, Microsoft Notes, whatever, and writing it all down, and then making notes to talk about whether you actually like the recipe and if you're going to change it in any way. Obviously, you're not going to write it down if you don't like it. I mean, obviously. But if there are things that you like about it, but you have notes, then you can write the notes down so that next time you come to it, you don't have to remember and forget and be like, what was really good about this and what did I not like? What was I going to change? So I like to keep notes all the time, and I change recipes that I discover that I really like, but there might be just one or two things that I prefer it to taste a little bit like. So just a note for you there. You probably already do this, but I only rediscovered it recently, so I thought it might be worth sharing, just in case it's helpful. Because do you know what? Sometimes the most obvious things aren't always the most obvious to those who are new and are still looking into things. I still consider myself a new chef, a new cook, a new home cook. So I have a lot to learn. Keeping notes helps me to learn. So first we're going to boil a pot of water to get that spaghetti going, because the sauce is not going to take very long to do at all. We're going to add the cashew butter, the nutritional yeast, and the miso to a bowl and make a paste. This sounds weird, and when you're doing it, it doesn't feel like it's ever going to come together, but it does. Just give it a little bit of time. Then you're going to cook your pasta until it's about 1 to 2 minutes before it's fully cooked, so it's a little bit al dente. And you're going to reserve around 2.5 cups of pasta water. This is going to be really helpful for the sauce later on. Once you're ready to make your sauce, you add the olive oil and the pepper to a pan and cook for a couple of minutes. Then you're going to be adding in your very hard, blocky mixture and try to smooth it out. Adding in some pasta water to help with that as well. You'll add in probably around 1.5 cups at this point. Then you're going to add in your cooked pasta and coat everything fully, adding more pasta water if you feel it's necessary to make the sauce a little more saucy. Once you plate up, just add some lemon and some red pepper and you're pretty much done. This would be a really great recipe to do before your main meal. So making it a little bit smaller and making the whole meal a little bit more exciting by having several courses. For this, I just paired it with a white wine because I thought that it'd be nice and light. But of course, you can do whatever you feel necessary. The next thing is a Thai green curry from scratch. I always meal prep the paste because I like to have it for special occasions or just during the week when I really want something that feels luxurious. But for today's recipe, instead of using a food processor, I'm going the extra mile and pounding everything in a molcajete. This allows the oils to come out and makes a really great flavor. But if you don't have time, you can of course use a food processor just like this. Now, lime leaves are really important to making the curry as fragrant and delicious as possible. So if you can find them, great. I found mine at my local H Mart. I heated up some coconut oil and put it in the pan and then fried the green curry paste for a couple of minutes. Adding in the tofu and frying for again a couple of minutes, and then I added in the coconut cream and then the lime leaves. I also added just a little bit of vegetable stock and let that cook for about 10 to 15 minutes before adding in all the vegetables to really help that flavor develop. Once you've added in the vegetables, if you feel you need a little bit of water, you can always add in 1/2 cup and cook this down until the vegetables are ready, and then you're going to add in your Thai basil. I only had a little bit, but the more the merrier. And that's it. It's actually a really simple recipe once you cut the paste down, and all the instructions will be in the comments below. For the final recipe, which I think would be really great for Valentine's Day because it's a great meal to make together or to share. I'm making two different things. So we're first going to make a cucumber kimchi, which you can make ahead. This can be done 2 to 3 days before you actually need to. And these recipes are by the Korean vegan. If you don't know her on Instagram or YouTube, I'll leave her links down below because she is a wonderful cook. She makes it seem very easy to make all of the most delicious Korean meals that we enjoy, but vegan. So I first made the cucumber kimchi, which was delicious even after 30 minutes of preparing. And then I made the mandoo, which are dumplings, and these can be prepared in many different ways. I personally find that her recipe is one of the more interesting ones. It's got such a huge variety of vegetables in there. You've got garlic, kimchi, salt, pepper, and you cook everything down for about 5 minutes until all the vegetables are soft. Once you've added in your soy sauce, then interestingly you add everything to a blender with the noodles. And you're going to pulse everything until it becomes a little bit like a paste. After which you're going to mix everything with the tofu, and then you're going to start assembling your dumplings. This is actually really therapeutic, and this could be a process that you do with the person that you're sharing this meal with, or you can make these ahead and freeze them and then make them together and share them for your special meal. The great thing about this recipe is that it makes about 40 to 50 dumplings, so it really does make up a proper meal, especially when you add it with things like the kimchi, but you can also make many other dishes. I really highly recommend her cookbook. It's one of the best ones I think I've ever made from, and I haven't disliked a single recipe that I have made from there. This is also really simple. It takes a little bit of time, but it is 100% worth it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video, and I would love to know what it is about this video that you did enjoy, if you did. I'm doing a lot of experimentation with my filming at the moment and editing, so I would love your feedback. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing because it really helps support my channel. Okay, if you're interested in bright Cellars, then check them out in the description below, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.